Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to go ahead and talk about myself for a few minutes. I apologize. I promise there's a point to it. Um, but if you'll bear with me, I would really appreciate it. So, when I was 17, the Executor 3 came out, and that was my entrance to the Xbox scene initially, or the Xbox modding, anyways. And um, those guys went above and beyond. It was so cool what they did. Their BIOS, their hardware, um, it was all just amazing. It was completely over the top, um, just incredible how much work they put into it, and it showed, and it went down in history as one of the best. Um, and I always thought I didn't understand anything back then. I was a kid, but I always thought I wanted to do something like that. Um, and that never went away. Um, a few years ago, I got back in after a huge absence of not doing anything like that, and um, I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what. I had a feeling that I was supposed to be doing something, but I didn't know what. Um, and I probably made a bit of a nuisance of myself in the process of figuring out what that was. Sorry about that. But I had that accident a couple years ago. And throughout the process of waiting for that heart surgery, I met Harcroft, and I met X-Key. And Key gave me the schematic. He put together a schematic. I can't load the wiring schematic because KiCad's being a bastard. But you can see he put together a schematic that had the pin header, the MCU, the Pico MCU, what are you doing? The flash, the I don't remember if it had the boot select button or if I added that. I added the DO header, and then the LDL, crystal, USB port, and then some decoupling caps, and that would work as long as I connected all those blue lines. And I didn't know what to do with it at first. I was intimidated. So it sat by the wayside. And then I had the heart surgery, and then I was in the hospital bed looking at KiCad and diving back into it. Where was I? Open recent. And I remember at some point I started talking with Harcroft and X-Key about it. So I was like, I want to start, but I don't really know where to start. I don't know anything about this. So Harcroft sat with me for a couple nights, or days. I think it was night, whatever. And X-Key was there too, and those guys answered my questions, and Harcroft beat into my head the fact that I needed to start getting used to reading data sheets. You can't just wing it when it comes to something like that. And I still had an aversion to data sheets for a while, but that didn't last long. It couldn't. So I started working 16 hours a day, every day, for about 5 months. And it was insane. I didn't do anything I probably should have done, and I just did this. I was recovering from that surgery, so I I had a means to be able to afford it, and it was all I focused on. And I remember I came up with something partway through, and Tomcat, like a big brother, said, don't release something just to release it, you know, just because it's something. Stick around and put more time into it. Don't release it until it's done. Thank you for that advice, because I was about to release a piece of shit. Let's see, can I bring it up fast enough? Where's my browser? I don't know if I can. Yes, is it here? Is it here? Come on. There we go. If it'll load. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a piece of shit, but it sure as hell wasn't what I ended up with. Yeah, you know, pretty basic. It booted though, but I was advised, no, keep going. It'll turn into something better. So I said, okay, fine. And I put in about 4 months more work after that, and I finally released it, and I was very proud of what it turned into. I mean, that's pretty amazing for not having any experience or anything. I can't believe I did that. I am so stoked. But anyways, the point isn't to show off. I also did the mini, and that came out all of this came out way better than I expected it to. And I am proud of how it turned out. There's a couple other things, real quick. There is the real-time clock. Now, I don't know how to say his name right. I probably should have asked him before I made this video. I don't know if it's Andro or Ander Zero, because it's a zero. But I assume it's Andro. And he came up with it. He pioneered it. He came up with the idea for the timekeeping IC, and you know, communicates over I2C, and Team Cerbios and Equinox coded support for it into PrometheOS and Cerbios. And I absolutely recommend that you support him. You know, he designed it. All I did was add a battery, some connectors, and some LEDs. You know me. And the board looks beautiful. I'm proud of that. But that was this would not exist if Andro hadn't created the mod. I really appreciate him doing that and open sourcing it and releasing it. So Andro's to be credited for the X-RTC. The X-Array, I always loved the activity light mods, but it's a lot of manual labor, and it's kind of a pain in the ass, and you have to modify the case. There's some like under front panel appendages you can find that clip in, but it's still kind of a pain in the ass, because that only takes care of the mounting part. You still have to do all the wiring, and then there's, resistors, and it's like, it's not complicated, but it takes time. And that always pissed me off, so I did the X-ray. And I made it so you only had to solder 6 wires in one spot on the board. One area of the board. There's a cat hair. That cat hair is relentless. And obviously it looks nice. And basically, it only takes like 20-30 minutes to install if you know how to solder and you're comfortable around the Xbox. It might take an hour or 2 if you're not. But it simplifies the process a lot. And so I love activity LEDs, and I want to share that with other people, so I made the mod. Tony Haro did a lot of work with the activity LEDs. He came up with some wiring diagrams, and I made use of the ICs that the Executor 3 used for the hard drive and LAN LEDs. So I used that for hard drive and LAN, and then I used a different kind of dual channel MOSFET for the CD ready and serial data activity LED signals. That simplified the process, cleaned it up, and made it so you could just buy everything you need in one shot. And I'm really proud of that. I think it's super cool. There are a few other things that I'm working on. One thing I'm about to release, 2 things I'm about to release. And then I have an idea for 3 things solid. Some are partially designed, some are yet to be designed. I have a lot of cool ideas. I'll get to that in a minute. But I've been thinking a lot about open sourcing and what it means, why it's important. This was a lot of work. I don't know if I could convey how much work it really was. Let me show you something. That's the BSX Nova. I can't believe I did that. So you saw what I started with. This is what I ended up with. And while I'm proud of all the work that I did and that I finished and that I created pretty much the first thing I've ever done in my entire life, I would not have had a goal in mind if Team Resurgent had not, Mod Show, Shaux, Team Resurgent, Equinox, whoever's involved with the project, had not open sourced the firmware and given me the ability to have software to run. Because without it, not only would the chip not have anything to run, I wouldn't have done it. I've been thinking a lot about open sourcing and why people do it, because I had never really thought about it too much, or really understood it, and all I've ever really done is reap the benefits of it. I mean, I don't want to shit on myself. I did legit work. There's a lot of stuff in the Nova and the Mini that took research for best design practices, reading data sheets, doing what was recommended there for each component individually, and then, I did stuff that hadn't been done yet. in order to make sure that that chip was solid and robust and could handle anything that you know, Knox and Shalks and whoever else was working on the project did. Future proofing it, making sure that it could handle anything. And I made sure, because I was getting it done very early, and the firmware is still early on in development. But I wanted to do it then and there, so I did. And I have no regrets. I don't know if I'll ever open the BSX chips. I kind of want to, but there's a lot of issues with doing that. It'll undermine other people's chip projects who haven't opened their designs. I'm afraid of China taking the designs and mass producing them, just like they're doing with Modsville's carrier board. There's too many unknowns, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know if I'll ever be. There is stuff that I would like to open that I have in mind that I think will benefit the community. I still need to ask you a few more questions and figure out what the benefits and, you know, the pros and the cons of open sourcing are, because I truly don't fully understand it. But here's what I know, and what the conclusion I've reached is that everything that these guys have done is a lot of work, and they're doing it for free. They're doing it in their free time. They probably have jobs. Some of these guys in the Xbox scene, their jobs have nothing to do with software design or hardware design. I think Matty Suds is a trucker. You know, these guys. Matty Suds is a fucking genius. That guy should be doing crazy stuff for a career. He's very talented, and he opens everything. I can't even imagine doing as much work as what's in Prometheus and Mod Show, and then just giving it out. That's a very, very cool, selfless thing to do. And I'm trying to think, what are the benefits of doing that? And there's really only a couple of conclusions I can reach. One is that, you know, you can say, hey, I did all this, and here it is, which obviously looks cool. It's altruistic, and, you know, it's okay to brag and you know, do that a little bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you earned it, but you're enabling other people in the community to have their own projects and do what they want to do, but they may not be able to because they don't have the same talents that you do. So you help supplement their project to completion. That's what happened with me. The X-Array, the RTC, the 2 mod chips. If people in the community had not done the work that they did, I would have no project. I don't know if I can express to you guys how much better my life has gotten since I started doing this. Before I started doing this, I was aimless, I was lazy, I was kind of a fucking douchebag. There was a lot of things I didn't like about myself, and a lot of things that I wanted for myself but didn't know how to achieve. As soon as I started working on this chip, everything about me started to change. And there was a lot to change. So I apologize if it's been rough going. But I was kind of a bag of tools 3 years ago. Not even that long ago. And I'm a much different person now. I'm motivated to find a career in PCB design or assembly. I can do it too. I am much more responsible. How do I even say it just my whole mindset is different than it was. It's all good things. Um, I take care of myself more. I've matured emotionally a lot. I used to be very combative and adversarial and vindictive and shitty, and I used to root for discord and drama, and everything that I've been through in the Xbox scene has changed all that, which sounds nuts. It's original Xbox modding. How much can you reasonably expect to extrapolate from a hobby like that? But I have. My life has completely fucking changed because of this project. I owe it to Shalks, to Resurgent, Team Serbios. Man, thank you. I should have said this to you a long time ago, but I didn't know how, because I had my head up my ass and I didn't understand. I just didn't get it. Now I understand why you guys do what you do, because it's fucking badass. Now I am probably an extreme example of what good open sourcing does to a community. You guys straight up changed my fucking life. I am so grateful, I don't even know how to appropriately or adequately show it. I hope that, especially if I have help from the community, which I do need, I can do these things myself, but it's going to take me a lot longer. And I may not be able to do it as well. When it comes to software, I'm going to need help. Straight up. But even if I don't, I hope that I'm able to contribute something one day, hopefully soon, because I have ideas. I have a lot of good ideas, and I want to share them with everybody. Just keep them in my store, but I also want to give them away and say, here are the Gerbers, here's the BOM, and here's a wiring schematic. You guys can see what I did. Pretty cool, huh? I really want to do that, but I haven't. My motivations to do it up until recently were because it's what I felt like I was expected to do, because everyone else is doing it. So I'm only just now realized why you guys do what you do. It's a very decent thing. So I owe you guys a lot. I don't know how I'm going to show that, but hopefully this is a start. If you, to my fans and my followers, my customers, if you like what I do, please donate to Team Resurgent, donate to Shalks. Those guys are my software developers. Those guys, they make what makes the BSX, what it is. Obviously, I came up with all the aesthetics. I came up with a lot of design solutions. I worked very hard to create a hardware embodiment of the mod show firmware and Prometheus. And I hope that I did a good job. I hope that you guys like it. I did my best, especially with the limited knowledge that I had, which was fucking none. My life is so much better. This project exists, which I can use in a portfolio to try to get a job and get my foot in the door somewhere. My family is proud because they see what I'm working on and they're blown away. The friends that I have, They see a change in me. They see that I'm working on this, and they're blown away. So many good things have happened in my life because of this. And I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry. But I'm really, really happy. And I'm really grateful. So I really hope nothing bad happens in the Xbox scene that destroys everything. Because I'm just now starting to get it. I think. I'm just now. Everything's just getting good, man. And I want to see where I take it. I want to see where it goes. And if I manage to be able to work with other people, I want to see what else I can create. Because with what I'm able to do, because I do have talents of my own, I think that we could create some really cool shit. But anyways, the point is, I'm very grateful. I'm glad you guys do what you do. I'm glad that you share it with the community. And I'm a success story. I'm one of the best outcomes of open sourcing you could think of. The only thing that would be better is if I open source things of my own, right? I plan to do that. I have 2 projects in mind that I absolutely plan to do that with. I wouldn't feel right just selling them and keeping them to myself. I want to share them. So, that's it. Have a good day, everybody. And community, keep doing what you do. I'm very grateful. Thank you.